Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the playing of
the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast.
And here's your host, Jana, and her big brother, Jeff. Finally, we followed through on a threat. For each of the last of our 4 seasons, we've always said if something big happens during the off season, the hot stove, whatever, we would hop on and do a random episode in the middle just because we had to talk about what's going on. And sure enough, something big happened. We knew it was going to happen. It had to happen. It was inevitable. We just didn't know when it was going to happen. That's right. Andrew Chafin is a Tiger.
Woohoo!
That's what we were waiting for. And of course, if you've been watching our social media, which is on Twitter at Sibling Rivalry BB without the A,
and on Instagram and Facebook at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A,
you would know that Jana now thinks that she's smarter than the rest of us.
No, I don't.
So please take some time and explain the economics of the Andrew Chafin to Detroit deal. So we all have a better feeling about what Detroit is really giving up in order to have Andrew Chafin.
Well, I believe his deal is what, $4.5 million. So,
just a 1 year deal.
Just a 1 year deal, and it's enough to get a nice boat. If he would like to have a boat.
And there is a lake right there by Detroit.
Right. So I think he covered all of his bases for what he needed and what he needs.
Do you think he and Kenta Maeda, who is also a Tiger now, will get along?
Who couldn't get along with Kenta Maeda?
Well, and they don't. It's not like they hang out in the bullpen together. But I'm just wondering, if Chafin comes in, he'd be like, "Here I am, having to clean up your mess again." Kenta, watch out! Don't know what's in that box.
That's right.
So. Well, yeah, that's obviously not what we're here to talk about today. A couple of big things have happened. One, pretty much everybody knew was going to happen, but they weren't real sure how it was going to look. And in the end, maybe it won't happen. And we'll talk about that. But first, we got to hit the big news, and that is Shohei Ohtani and the Oakland A's. Everybody thought it was the Blue Jays, then the Dodgers, but no. Billy Beane and Steve Fisher, they put their pennies together.
Yeah, they were looking through the couch cushions, taking their kids' piggy banks, or just random kids.
I think I saw them out in front of the house here, pulling plastic out of my recycle bin. Well, Shohei is, as far as Shohei's concerned, a Dodger.
Yes, made the announcement yesterday on Instagram himself.
Yeah, that was kind of the thing that was crazy, that he just put it out there quietly, no fanfare. Of course, it didn't take long for everybody to blow up. And actually, you sent me a picture via text and like a instant message thing saying, "Is this real?" And I was like, "No."
I know.
It's on his Instagram.
Yeah.
So I went and looked. Jeff Passan, nobody had, not even Morosi, who was behind all him and Hoonstra were the guys who were like all set on Toronto.
And they had people watching flights, private flights from airports in Southern California to Toronto, and then they showed a jet land, but it was just some guy and his family who gets off, some tycoon or whatever. I don't know.
I think they
call
said,
them
wasn't it the guy that
tycoons.
was like the from Shark Tank
Oh, maybe.
or something? Because I think
Yeah.
I saw something about that. Where is it? I mean, that was crazy. I was out on a walk with the boy, and as we're going along, I'm listening to whatever was on the MLB radio on Sirius XM, and they were the one guy was on like a flight tracker website. And they're like, oh, he's over Nebraska now, based on the flights that they said he might be on.
Right.
And then, so they got all that stuff talking about where he's at, where he could be. Somebody, and probably if it was wherever he went in to an airport, somebody had a video of Shohei, HAAPY, and Nez Balelo, his agent, coming into a private terminal. And it had to have been recently because there was a Christmas tree there. But it's nondescript. You don't know where it's at. It doesn't say welcome to Canada in there or anything that we could see. So
Right.
It could have been any place that he came through on any of his visits to teams about.
Yeah, because he had recently been in Florida, or, I say recently, I don't know how recent, but probably within the last, week or so. So yeah, if there
Right.
was a Christmas tree up, it could have been up since Thanksgiving. And
Right. And that was somewhere in Florida is where
That's
he
right.
was at to go to the Blue Jays spring training site, which that wasn't anything that was hidden. It knew he went there. I don't know if he ever went to Toronto, but there was really it didn't seem that far-fetched that he could have decided to go to Toronto.
yeah, I think at this point we were just waiting to see the team, and whatever team, I don't think anybody, well, at the time, I don't think anybody really cared. I think you're seeing now that they do, but yeah, it's been crazy. And I was pretty much on Friday, didn't, really look at my phone a lot that day. And then afterwards I was like, what? He's not going to Toronto. What is this? This is crazy. So then the next day, so yesterday, I guess, right? When he announces, I got a text from a friend of mine, but he had sent me the MLB, like from the article from the MLB network. And I was like, what? No, this is not, whatever. I don't believe anything. And then I looked on Instagram and saw from Shohei's own keyboard or someone's keyboard.
His dog.
Yeah. Which do we know the name of the dog? Because that is also.
Everybody was like, Shohei is not on a plane to Toronto, I think is what some people said his dog's name was.
Right. What is that for short? What is that? What do they call him for short?
Not Toronto.
Yeah.
This is not a surprise.
Right.
That he's going there. The Dodgers have not said anything.
No, they've been very quiet. And it's interesting because you went back a few days ago where there was an uproar over Dave Roberts and how, yes, he's met. And people knew that Shohei had been at Dodger Stadium because people who had tours of the Dodger Stadium tours that they do, those were canceled for the afternoon. The top of the park, the club, the shop, the
team store.
Yeah, the team store. Thank you. That was closed. They closed early. So there was stuff going on, and that was because Shohei was, they were meeting with him. Was what was out there. But yeah, things like that happen. You're like, okay. Or they were having a holiday party. I don't know, but.
Right. It could have been any of those things.
Right.
But all of those things.
Yeah.
So anyway, so he's going reportedly $700 million, but over 10 years. But the word is that, and if you're a fan of the deal or you're just a fan of Shohei, a lot of people are like they're very complimentary of the fact that he insisted. So the word is that much of that salary be deferred. So in the end, potentially his average annual value per salary, which is what affects the competitive balance tax amount, could be around 50 million or under, depending on how the deferments and everything work. So he might be the new Bobby Bonilla.
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't want to be Bobby Bonilla? What is August? There's Bobby Bonilla Day. Day. So now, depending on whatever that day, the time frame, it could be Shohei Day.
So the word is that Shohei will be that'll probably be announced sometime, by like Wednesday. They'll probably announce everything. They may just be waiting on the physical stuff to be done. If not already, who knows?
Well, and that was the other thing before this even happened. I mean, we knew obviously he was going into free agency before the end of the season. So it was everybody wanted him. And what were they going to do? But he had his surgery done now this doctor does surgeries on many different players from many different teams. However, he is considered like the team doctor, right? For the Dodgers, I guess, in a way.
Right. El Atrache.
Yeah. So that right there was like, oh, that's got to be the clue. So people
we
were
talked
putting
about
these
that
together. We did.
On early episodes saying, no, don't read anything into it. But it is convenient.
It is convenient. Well, and I really thought that the Angels still had a really good shot at re-signing him or getting him back because of, I don't know, things that we had talked about, just kind of a loyalty. He's comfortable in the with the players, maybe with the new manager. It could, there might be some things that could entice
staff.
Right. So I thought, I didn't think that it was that far off that the Angels were still a possibility for him to return.
Well, I thought if he returned there, potentially he did it on a short term, 2 or 3 year, maybe a 2-year with an optional 3rd year, a player option that would allow him to stay someplace comfortable, and then and let him get through everything and rehab. But honestly, as far as the rehab parts go, he's just as good going to LA. The same medical professionals are going to be close by. The team doctor did the surgery, and he guaranteed that Shohei will be able to pitch in 2025 if he wants to. So that's it's huge how this can all work out. Of course, all the haters came out because they didn't get him on their team. You talk about the Angels. Yesterday, if you go to the front of Angel Stadium, everybody pretty much who knows the stadiums know there's 2 big, giant Angels hats out there. And they are officially New Era caps. They got the New Era logos on them. They got the sizes on them. And then in the front, there's like a big awning thing into the main entrance that goes in, and that's behind home plate. And there's bats out there, and they've got a whole neat thing. And then across there's windows, but you wouldn't really know they were windows because on those they have big giant pictures of the players, whoever's big. So like Trout, Rendon, I think, is up there, even though he shouldn't be. Albert Pujols was up there, others. And of course, Shohei. Within a couple of hours of Shohei's announcement, he was down off of the front of the stadium. They wasted no time.
Yeah, it was gone. And there was a reporter, and I don't remember if it was Sam Bloom or
Sam Blum was the one that was out there.
And he said felt kind of like a vigil because there were flowers. I guess there are bricks that have, and there's a player's name, and there were flowers at Shohei's brick, which was kind of odd, but Well,
out in front there, so you got the bats in there, and then they have, the way it looks is like a field. So you have the infield, you have the outfield. Now, a lot of the bricks are there, and I go and visit one when I'm there all the time because it has my name on it.
Yes.
Because they're fan bricks.
Yes.
And I'll have to find a picture of it. We can post it on our thing. But for Blanca and I, we got that one year for like a Christmas gift. And so we have it. We're over on the first base side, but they do have all that out there. And so people will come and do stuff. And the other thing I wondered too is if anybody brought anything on behalf of Patrick O'Neill, who's one of the Angels people, because his dad, he's an Angels. He does Angels and Ducks, and but his dad's Ryan O'Neill, who passed away over the weekend or during last week. And so I didn't, not knowing, but yeah, that's what I read too, Sam Blum. And I think if you go to the Athletic, I think he did a whole story. I haven't read it yet about how that all played out and the feel and the overall vibe, but it really was as if, Shohei is no more. Well, in the Angels universe. And I wonder too, do you think they would have pulled it all down yesterday if he'd gone to Toronto?
Ooh, that's a good question. Would they have waited a little bit? We'll get it done next week. Yeah, maybe, but maybe because it's the Dodgers.
I'm thinking Artie was paying double time to whoever the crew is that does that. He called them out, had them on standby. They were like, yeah, time and a half, double time, got a bonus if you get it done by this time. And, and the other thing that I find this stupid all the time, people were burning their Shohei jerseys.
Yeah, I saw that too. And I think as a fan of the game, which again goes back to your question, at the beginning of our season, or you love the game or you love the team. Why? I mean, he is the unicorn of baseball. Every fan loves or should love Shohei, and people were burning. Like, why? Why would you do that?
And what effect does burning his jersey have on him?
Absolutely nothing. It just has on you. You have one less thing to wear.
And if it's not like just the replica, and even a replica is $100.
Right.
If you bought an authentic jersey with this stuff, that's about $350.
Yeah.
And while I would like to have just $350 to burn, I guess, why would I do that? That's another jersey. I would do that, put it away. He's not on my team anymore. Who can I get? Here's where I'm hoping, the Angels go out. The problem is, and I was listening to the GM show with Jim Duquette and Jim Bowden, who are both former GMs, talk about it. They have a good question. Who wants to go to the Angels based on that team? And nobody wants to go, as much as somebody might say, oh, I'd love to play with Mike Trout. Nothing happened. They had the two best players in the league, supposedly. I don't know that Mike Trout is still the best player in the league. Obviously, Shohei takes that, but nobody's going to go there. You don't know about Anthony Rendon. In the past, when they put money out there, players didn't come. Garrett Cole, he had a choice of the Angels or the Yankees, and he went to the Yankees.
Right.
For the same type of reasoning that people thought that he would go to the Angels. The reasoning he was going to go to the Angels is because he's an Orange County guy. He grew up there. He lives there in the off season. But as a kid, he was a Yankee fan. So if you take that, he always wanted to be a Yankee. Well,
yeah, that makes sense.
Any kid that ever wanted to play baseball, even if you hate the Yankees, I've never been a Yankees fan. But if I got to play baseball and I got signed by the Yankees, I am going to be excited to play for the Yankees.
Oh, yeah, of course.
If I get signed to play by the Rays, I don't know if I'm excited.
It's not a iconic team like the Yankees. Yeah, I don't know. That'll be a good question. You have Rendon, who really is, it almost feels like, is he an Angel? Is he even on the team anymore? It's kind of, you forget about him. But he has to be healthy, and he's got to decide that he wants to play baseball for the Angels. Mike Trout has to be healthy. And then you have the younger guys that have come in, and I think if you can get Mike Trout and especially Anthony Rendon, and you can get them where they are the leaders of the clubhouse, the veterans in the clubhouse, leading the younger guys, and then get pitching, because they have to have pitching, and they haven't done anything so far, then I think it could be a good team. But I think you're right that if Rendon can be at this point even half of what he was in 2019, that's solid. And he needs to be healthy as well. Trout needs to be healthy. You've got, with the exception of Tyler Anderson, the Angels have just still youngsters. Patrick Sandoval is the most veteran, because otherwise it's Chase Silseth, it's Reed Detmers, it's Griffin Canning. You're not really looking at you see guys who've had some success, but they've not had solid, constant success. So you need to sign somebody. A lot of people are talking about Blake Snell. Would I be fine with Blake Snell on the Angels? Yeah, but will Blake Snell come to the Angels? And even then, will he continue to be the pitcher he has been? Right.
I'd rather take that chance on him. But at the same point, why not? There's I don't know how much of it's rumors, but even Yamamoto has come up now with them. I don't think Yamamoto goes to the Angels. I think that him being, I would see him either going to New York so that he's in his own big thing, or he comes to the Dodgers. But then there's words that Shohei doesn't want any other Japanese players on the team. But I don't see that. If Yamamoto comes, they've been teammates on the World Baseball Classic team for Japan.
Right. So that's odd because, I don't know. I don't, just from, observation, and obviously through reading things and looking at, media posts and whatever, it never struck me that would be the type of person that Ohtani is. Like, I can only, I don't want anybody else. I don't want another Japanese player on the team. That doesn't make sense to me. Like, why? Like, he just wants to be the only one. And then there was a guy, I was like, they can have, it was, I think as an Angels fan, I'm not quite sure, but said they can have the guy who is always picking up litter. Like, that's the one thing that was horrible, like the worst thing he could say about Shohei was that he picks up trash.
There's so many people. Why are you paying $700 million for a designated hitter? Obviously, we don't know how it's going to play out when will he be able to come back and pitch effectively? Right. We don't know. The Dodgers are betting on it. And if you've watched how he plays and what he does, he's got the right mindset. He works hard. He wants to be these things. He said from the beginning, he wants to be a Hall of Famer as both. He doesn't want to be a Hall of Famer just for one thing or the other. Remember, not even Babe Ruth pitched. He pitched just a small part of his career, and then he was an outfielder. While I'm sure Shohei can, the athlete that he is, and he's played, different positions. He's just not always been a pitcher and a hitter throughout his whole baseball life. He could probably do the same thing, but that's not what his goal was. And he's proven he's earned his shot to have that option. So the question now, obviously there's questions for both sides. The Angels have a lot of work to do, even if he'd signed back. Now they have more money available. Can they get people in? And can the new coaching staff, can Ron Washington work his magic there? The guys that he's brought in, Ryan Goins, who is their infield coach, and Ron Washington is a huge infield coach kind of guy. Can he help bring, sharpen Zach Neto's game? Can he make Anthony Rendon into a solid third baseman again? Same thing, working with Nolan Shanuel. Can he become an all-star first baseman? And then one question at second base is Brandon Drury. Is he your starting second baseman? Luis Rengifo? Are they going to go out and get somebody? I think that Taylor Ward will be back. Mike Trout's back. Who's your other corner outfielder? Joe Adele? I just don't know. Well, and then there's Mickey Moniak.
Right.
That maybe, there's guys that are there, but you need a more, I think they need a couple more established players, especially they probably need two more starters. They've signed some guys, but they sign the same kind of guys that they always sign for the bullpen, for pitching. They're project kind of guys. They guys who've had success in the past, but haven't had any recently. One guy didn't even pitch but like 6 innings last year, I think. I don't even remember his name. And then since we're talking about things, because we need to talk about what the Dodgers do now. But let's talk about real quick a couple other things. And then we'll also talk about the other big thing that happened right at the end of the winter meetings. We'll do two things because they involve the same team. But we're not done with Shohei yet here. But the Angels, they released a lot of guys. They were able to, when everything settled, they were able to get under the CBT threshold, so they were not taxed. If they had signed Shohei and went over or went close to it, and then other guys they signed, they weren't going to be penalized for it. If they didn't, they're also not going to get penalized because by Shohei signing elsewhere, they get an extra draft pick after, I think it's competitive round, balance round B, I think is when they get theirs. So it's like kind of right after the second round, I think. But so they've helped themselves there. Then in a salary dump, they traded Max Stassi and David Fletcher to the Braves, which I think the Braves just took them on as a favor.
Yeah, it seemed like that was odd that they would just take them for what, like for cash, right?
Magic beans.
Yeah, and
Well, they
then
got a pitcher.
oh, that's
who's had
right.
some issues. Both of these guys, 27-year-old minor leaguers. Now, Evan White, I remember seeing him a couple of years ago playing for the Mariners, but he didn't really get a lot of playing time, and he ended up back in the minors, and then ended up in Atlanta from Seattle. There's potential there, maybe, to call him up. He's probably going to get called up to play at some point because of all the injuries, if that doesn't change. Pitching wise, the question is, can Barry Enright, who is the new pitching coach, who I read an article about, I think in The Athletic, if he can walk the walk of his talk, things could really be good. And the one thing that I'm not sure of is that, they kept telling him, we want somebody that'll tell us no. Yet, when somebody told Perry no, he fired him. And that was Joe Madden.
Yeah. I think for me, the way the Angels are going to change or have to change is, I think Perry has to go. Artie has to go. But Perry, I don't know. I don't know that what the Angels will get. They could surprise all of us and, get a top shelf pitcher and then, somebody else. I mean, I don't know. I'd have to go look and see, but who else is out there? There's a lot of free agent pitchers and everybody needs pitching. I think that was very evident this season. We saw everybody needed pitching. So
yeah, there's only a couple teams that really are fine. But see, This is the thing too, though, is that the Angels have been rumored to have contacted the Blue Jays, of all teams, about Alek Manoah.
Okay.
Why? You don't need a project, and Alek Manoah, after whatever happened last year, is clearly a project.
Yeah.
You need a solid starter. Go get Jordan Montgomery. Go get Blake Snell. It doesn't look like.
Well, what about Tyler Glass now? Is he a possibility for trade? I mean, are the Rays open? It sounds like they might be.
They are. Him and a Rosarena.
Oh, that's right.
Are both people that have been thrown out there. Now, we'll see if that happens. But like the same thing with Corbin Burns, who, of course, the Dodgers have been really the biggest team rumored in that. But the question is who can they trade? They've got pieces if they're willing to let Joe Adell or some of these other guys, some of these kids that are building up. But what will they do? Do they hold on to them? So the Angels have a long way to go. I don't know that Shohei was going to be the answer for them anyway, as far as like if you're trying to make it back. He's a great guy to have, but you can go out, and now actually the Angels have more flexibility with the open DH spot to actually give Mickey Moniak some more time. Let Trout DH. Let Rendon DH. Let, things like that.
That could definitely change things up if you were looking, especially with Mike Trout, if he's just hitting and not out in the outfield.
It may actually, work out better for them and having that flexibility to do that.
Yeah, or Rendon, I could see if in a DH position, maybe he would be more apt to do better. I don't know.
Hitting versus versus having to both play the field and hit, which, like I said, we don't really know what he can do anymore because he hasn't been doing anything.
Yeah, and that's the thing is he's been allowed to do that. The Angels have allowed him, and I understand that, yes, he was on the IL, and, later he's on the IL, he'll be back. Oh, wait, he had surgery, or he had this. But it's like somebody needs to, was it Bo
Porter.
Bo Porter, who, was saying, well, I've known him for a long time, since he was 13. I need to sit in a room with him, just him and me. Like, okay, is that wall-to-wall therapy? What is that? I don't know.
Maybe.
Because he needs to, he's very spoiled. And the Angels have allowed him to be that way.
They need to save him from himself, I think, is what like Bo Porter and a couple other people have said.
Yeah, no, and that's right. Because he needs to listen. We're paying you to play baseball, not be on the IL.
So lots of moves to go there. No more David Fletcher, which that's not a surprise based on how things went. Not even a surprise for Max Stassi to be sent out. He didn't play last year. And now they have Logan O'Hoppe, who's shown that he's the catcher of the future.
Yeah.
So they're going to want him to have time. They're going to probably go out and try to get a backup catcher that is a veteran, solid, backup. But who knows, from there. So lots more to go there as far as the Angels building team. Will they actually do it, or will Artie get in the way like he tends to do? And, this is the other thing. When Rendon showed up, it was because Artie went down to get Garrett Cole. And when he didn't get Garrett Cole, he said, fine, just give me somebody. And Anthony Rendon, Scott Boras was right there and available. And Anthony Rendon came to Anaheim, which didn't seem like a bad idea.
Yeah.
Necessarily until now or last year or the season before that.
Yeah. Well, I think with the Angels, pitching wise, and we've talked about it a lot, but I think Tyler Anderson has to figure out what did he have in 2022? How does he get that back in 2024? And he needs to become a presence on the pitching staff, for the starters. And then I think, and then you could fall into line after that with Sandoval, but you still have to have somebody else.
Well, you need
is gonna help.
Right. You got a staff of like 3s and 4s. As far as the starters go. Another thing that's probably going to help them out too is not really needing a 6-man rotation. I mean, this all can work out better for the Angels. Yes, you want Shohei, because Shohei last year, the closest, over a time frame, he had like nearly 2,000 at bats. The closest to him was Taylor Ward, who had 1,200.
Yeah. Yeah.
The numbers that he put up, he did his part. So there's a lot that they can get from this. The question is, do they? I think they recognize that. But what will they? Take the opportunity where they have like $70 or $80 million of cap space. I know it's not a cap, but tax space.
Right.
To work with. Will they do something? And, at this point, we don't know. At this point, there's just, no clue. All we're seeing is we saw Stassi and Fletcher get traded. And of course, most of us were sad to see Fletcher goes, because Fletcher we just thought was going to be a career Angel. And then Stassi, not surprised. But I wonder, too, because the Braves turned around and sent Stassi to the White Sox. what did they get? I didn't look and see what they got, but maybe we could have just sent him to the White Sox and got something better from them.
Right. Well, and we didn't mention, but Dylan Cease's name has been coming up a lot for, trade possibilities. Not that they would trade for, they would want more. But Luis Roberts' name has come up too. Now, of course, the White Sox had said, no, that's not going to happen.
No, he's Cease maybe, but not.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the impact on the Dodgers now in regards to picking up Shohei. We know he's going to be the DH. So that really right there means JD Martinez is going to be elsewhere. I know some people at the beginning said, well, maybe he'll just come be an Angel. But then I've also heard his name linked to Eduardo Rodriguez's new home,
Mm-hmm.
The Diamondbacks. So who knows there? But here's what I see. Everybody's been putting potential Dodger lineup, just the lineups. And it's like, wow, how do you pitch to that? Well, just like you pitch any other team. Yes, your first four are pretty decent hitters in that it's Mookie and either Shohei or Freddie number 2. The whoever's not number 2 is hitting number 3. Will Smith, and then number 5, Max Muncy. Now, Max has shown that he can hit, but how much of the year, especially the beginning of the year, was he batting under 200? And then it's like, what was it? It's Muncy and Outman and then
You're gonna put
Chris
Hayward
Taylor.
Oh yeah, Chris Taylor.
Hayward and Lux.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, okay, fine. That was, with the exception of Lux, that's pretty similar to what, they had last year. JD Martinez was in there though, and occasionally David Peralta. But overall, once you get past the first 4, which is kind of how it was before, then what? They're going to probably need another right fielder because they're going to have platoon Hayward just because of righty-lefty matchups.
They need another right-handed hitter, which Kike Hernandez's name has been popping up as a possible, to keep him in Dodger blue. But he, again, is a utility guy.
Right.
And
they love utility guys, but now, like shortstop, I have no, Gavin Lux. Let's put it this way. If you thought Ohtani coming to the Dodgers was now the dynasty begins, you're wrong. The Dodgers didn't need Ohtani to be successful. They were already successful. That's why Ohtani wanted to go there. Could this change things a little bit? Yes, because Ohtani's younger. He's got, once he can pitch, he's going to be on both sides of the ball still. But as designated hitter, is he going to be that much better than what JD Martinez was? And those are things. So they didn't really improve necessarily. They still got a chance to win 100 games.
They still can win 100 games, but they get into the postseason. Now they have to win because you're not going to sign Shohei Ohtani to a $700 million contract and then not expect to win in the postseason. And they cannot do what they've done in the last how many years. I mean, with the exception of 2020, that probably 2017 was their best, team, really. I mean, if you
Yeah.
look at the World Series team, and we all know what happened there, but then, and they made it in 2018, but they were up against Boston, and then 19,
Yeah,
you
they
know,
were a
but they,
shell of themselves compared to the 2017 team.
right. And so, yeah, it's great. I think I've always said that Ohtani, he looks good in Dodger blue, but now they have to, you know, they have to put the money, you know, where their mouth is, or whatever the the saying is, right? Because
Right.
you can't have Shohei. I mean, I've seen, hey, like memes of Mookie Betts talking to Shohei when they're playing, and it's like, hey, you and me, we're gonna be watching the postseason on my couch, you know,
Right.
stuff like that. And it's not that far off because, yes, the Dodgers have added Shohei Ohtani, but they had Mookie Betts, who's an MVP, Freddie Freeman MVP. Both of them were MVP candidates with Ronald Acuna, you know, in that race. And they still didn't get where they needed to be. And so now you add Shohei, but you still need pitching. You still
Right.
have to have pitching.
He is eventually part of the pitching staff, but not next year.
Right.
And even if you bring back Clayton Kershaw, which I think he will, I don't think Clayton's going to go pitch in Texas.
No.
I think, and he's not going to be back till middle of the year anyway.
Right.
You're going to, they're probably going to sign him at some point, and but they got to go get, even if they're not going to do the free agent dance, if they can't get Blake Snell, they can't get any of these guys, Seth Lugo even, and who else is available? There's still some decent names out there: Stroman, Jordan Montgomery, and we don't even know about Jordan Montgomery. He had a great time, or great season. The part of the season that he was in Texas, he was a little bit better. St. Louis, he was doing well, but that was the first time that he had been like at that high of a level. So, you know, the question is, who's actually still out there? Can they get Tyler Glasnow? Don't know if I want Tyler Glasnow if I'm in it, but I would take him over many others. Corbin Burns, who it feels like is, if Milwaukee trades him, that the Dodgers are the best place for him to go. And then, of course, Lux goes. If you get Adames, you just get somebody who's got a little more experience, and him and Miguel Rojas can take there. You're not gonna ever replace Corey Seager.
No.
You know, but having, you know, somebody there, I just don't feel like Lux is the guy. A guy that I would have liked to have seen the Dodgers go after, or even the Angels, was like Heimer Candelario, but he ends up with the Reds. You know, so it just doesn't.
I mean, there is the Yamamoto. We talked about him earlier. That's still a possibility. And Blake Snell, Jordan Montgomery, and then even Lucas Giolito has been his name has been out there and connected with the Dodgers, but a lot of times all players are, if they're free agents, seem to be connected to the Dodgers as a potential, but it would be a project again, because we saw what kind of year he had with this past season. Seth Lugo, you mentioned Marcus Stroman, and there is another Japanese player.
Is that Inamaga? Is that how you say it?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And so he's out there. So, you know, and of course, if you're looking bullpen help, then, you know, Josh Hader's still out there. But
I don't know that, and that's something talking about the Dodgers. They re-signed Joe Kelly.
yes. Fan favorite.
Yep. And who he doesn't have to, but he's probably giving up his number 17. And if you've read his book, he doesn't care what number he is. But you know, hey, it was fun. He did tell somebody, I think, on another podcast that maybe they could just share it, and they could just put Joe Hay on the back of it. So good sense of humor about that. But I don't really worry about them and the bullpen because they always seem to put that together. But the starters, we don't know about Walker Buehler. How's he going to come back? He's coming back from his second Tommy John.
Mm-hmm.
We're pretty sure. Well, we know Gonsolin's not coming back this season because he's rehabbing Tommy John.
Mm-hmm.
Dustin May, who knows?
Yeah, we haven't heard anything about Dustin May. Know that he obviously had surgery, but what is the timeline? What's he been doing? I mean, I'm sure he's in a program of some sort, but we haven't heard anything. I know that sounds bad, a program, a pitching rehab program. And so a program, he's in the program. But yeah, there's a lot of question marks of, who are the starters right now. So right now, you can't say Clayton Kershaw because he's a free agent. I mean, and so it's who's the top guy right now on the Dodgers in the rotation. It's our rookies, Bobby Miller, Ryan Pepio.
I think if you had to, you could trade Lux, Pepio, maybe see if you could throw in Gavin Stone for Woodruff and Adames. You can go back and get like somebody who was a Dodger pitcher at one time. Hyun-Jin Ryu.
Right. Yeah, he is on the list also. And that could be a reunion maybe. And I think one that the Dodger fans, he was always a fan favorite too. But, where is he going to be as far as pitching? Yeah, because the Dodgers really have to rehaul their rotation. I mean, at this point, their rotation is Bobby Miller, like Ryan Pepio, Emmett Sheehan.
That's
who else? Michael Grove,
Gavin Stone potentially,
right?
Because they're all guys that are signed. They're pitchers right there. That is another. They may as well be the Angels as far as their pitching staffs are concerned, because it's all young guys who are still learning how to pitch.
Yeah, I mean, you could say Walker Buehler has that number one spot, but again, you don't know because he did pitch. He had a couple of rehab starts in Oklahoma City, but then they shut it down, and which I think was a good thing because I felt like if they continued that there was possible, for not a re-injury, but an injury of some, just too soon. And we didn't, it wasn't like, oh, we got to get him in there for the postseason, which was good. Let's just not even worry about it. So we could say Walker Buehler at the top, but really I would put him to the side and just say, okay, these are the guys that we know are going to pitch. They are signed. They're in a rotate. They could be in the rotation. Walker Buehler's over here. We don't know about Dustin May. Tony Gonsolin is out, for this next season because of Tommy John. There's a lot of question marks for the Dodgers. I'd like to see, will they go after like Blake Snell?
It would be interesting. Alex Wood's out there available.
Yeah. And he actually was decent. He's always been a good mid-level, starter, and he pitched well with the Giants.
Right. I think that there's a couple other names out there that are probably, final seasons. Probably, I would think Zach Greinke probably stays in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Once they kind of get everything figured out. Johnny Cueto is another one who has availability. Rich Hill.
Oh yeah. Hey.
But like Sean Manaea, Frankie Montas are both out there. I mentioned Seth Lugo. Michael Lorenzen is a free agent. Maybe,
Does
a
he
trip
make-
back home to Anaheim or to LA.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking too. Yeah, he fits right in with his Vans. So, yeah, I mean, there's potential out there. I mean, we know Aaron Nola, I think that was a given. He wanted to stay in Philly. He's staying in Philly. And, that one, he was kind of at the top of a list too of somebody that you would want on your pitching staff would be Aaron Nola, but that's not happening.
Yeah. Well, and I just was looking down the list.
Sonny Gray also, he signed with the Cardinals,
right?
Which I never thought.
Lance Lynn,
as did Lance Lynn. I was going to say I never really thought Sonny Gray would move out of the NL Central or Central, either AL or NL, just because of location. Never saw him as a Dodger. And it did come out that he does prefer to, I think he's from Tennessee. So he, kind of likes to be closer to home. Unlike some people who say they want to, but then turn around and sign with a team in the West.
Right. Hey, Danny Duffy's available.
Oh, hey. What can he do? Sit on the bench.
Sit on the bench. Who knows? We never know. I mean, there's a lot of guys out here. The problem is that once you get past, kind of the top of the list. So we knew Shohei was number one as far as free agent goes, especially with pitchers, even though he's not pitching. It's beyond potential. We know that he very well could really turn things around. The Dodgers could be a dynasty with him on both sides of the ball, but it depends on what they add. But once you get there, Aaron Nola, Eduardo Rodriguez, even Sonny Gray, Kenta Maeda, I felt like was a guy that I would have liked to seen out here on either team.
Oh, yeah.
But he ends up in Detroit. There's other guys that kind of, they've already, they're already off the board. Luis Severino just went to hop the subway to the Mets from the Yankees. Lance Lynn, we talked about after the Dodgers ended up in St. Louis. We didn't think he was coming back, but there's still Marcus Stroman still available. Interesting too. Will Julio Urias be picked up anywhere? Will someone?
Haven't heard anything about that at all. So,
and then one thing that keeps popping up with Angels fans, especially after this aftermath of what happened with his scandal, people are going, sign Trevor Bauer.
Right. Yeah. And apparently his agents were at the winter meetings, I think, kind of shopping him around. And a lot of people said, oh, nothing happened. But we really don't know what is happening at the winter meetings. It's kind of a train wreck, and it gets us excited about, I think, baseball fans in general, like, oh, the winter meetings, things are going to happen. And then nothing happens. And then we found out that, all the meetings were at the Opry, is it still called the Opryland Hotel?
Yep.
Okay. Even though Opryland's not there. Well,
but the Randall Opry is still there.
That's true. So
and it's on the site of Opryland, and the outlet mall that's there is Opry Mills.
Okay. So all of the meetings were there in Nashville, but then there were, this team, they're like, I think they didn't stay at the hotel, or they didn't, so.
Well, I heard some complaining that they're like, if you're not familiar with Nashville, there's downtown, and then you can go out in different directions, like a lot of big areas. But the Opryland was an amusement park that was kind of out in the middle of nowhere, like a lot of amusement parks are. And so they got this big this hotel, just listening to some of the radio, the MLB radio from the Opryland Hotel, they're like, "What's your favorite getting lost in the Opryland Hotel story?" You know,
Yeah.
and it's like, and James McCann, who was the backup catcher for the Orioles, was kind of funny. He goes, you come in or you go someplace, oh, I got to go to the bathroom. He goes, and then it takes you 30, 40 minutes to figure out how you were back, and you were only like 15 feet away from where you started. But when you come out, and I've been to this hotel a couple of times, it is massive. And there's two different parts to it. So like if you were watching MLB Network, when they had their desk set up, is like in the main thing, the convention hall's right there. They got a little island with shops and restaurants and stuff. And then there's restaurants all over the place. And then there's a whole different area. And so it's just like, and I heard since the last time I was there, they've got an indoor water park.
Wow.
At the Opry Hotel.
That's pretty cool.
Hotel.
But
so it's huge, and you know, a lot of them were saying, you know, you don't know where you're at. It takes forever to get some places, and but I think
how many meetings people showed up late, or they didn't show up because they got lost, and then the team was like, "Oh well," and they gave up on it. We hope that's not what happened.
Maybe
but
that's what happened with the Blue Jays, and you know, Shohei just couldn't get his way. I think that's what happened because everybody kept thinking, you know, all the money in the world that the Mets could do something with Shohei,
right?
And then it turns out that Steve Cohen, and of course he doesn't say this until after he signs because he can't really say anything.
Yeah.
But sour grapes is how it sounds. Is well, his agent didn't even reach out to me personally. Because it was never a serious thing in Shohei's mind. Shohei knew where he was willing to go, and it was 30 miles up the 5 or 45 from Newport Beach, depending on where on Newport Beach he lives. Yeah. But that's the whole thing. And if anybody's not sure about that, and people are going, why would he live down there? Kobe Bryant lived in Newport Beach and played for the Lakers. You know, Mike Trout lives in Newport Beach too, but he's right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, there's that. Oh, and by the way, Mike Trout has said, I'm not going to be traded, and he's going to play shortstop. He's going to play center field.
I was like, is he he's the Mookie Betts of the Angels.
I had two thoughts in my head at the same time, and they became Trout playing shortstop, when what I meant to say was, Trout's going to stay in center field. Oh, by the way, another big announcement, Mookie Betts is going to be the everyday second baseman.
Right. Yeah.
So there's so many different things that are out there, but pitching, and I think they need another outfielder. You know, I mean, I don't think Cody Bellinger's coming back to the Dodgers.
I don't think so either.
But I'm still not. I'm okay with Outman being the everyday center fielder if you have a better option in left field than Chris Taylor, and Chris Taylor goes back to being just a solid utility guy, him and Kike, and then work things out in right field. You know, can Jason Hayward do the same thing that he did last year? You know, those are the things.
Well, and you look at the outfielders, and you have Lourdes Gurriel Jr., Jock Peterson. You know, there's been some talk of, we need Jocelyn back. I don't know that he's going to come back. Tommy Pham, David Peralta, of course, Michael Brantley, Joey Gallo, which we've seen, Travis Jankowski, Jurickson Profar, you know, Eddie Rosario of the Braves, or formerly of the Braves, right? AJ Pollock, but all of these guys that I mentioned, every single one of them, all 30 plus.
Right. You know, what about, well, I'm not sure how he plays, I was going to say Jorge Soler, but he's a DH for the most part.
Yeah.
He might be good there. Michael Brantley
Mhm.
is a free agent. Now, whether last time we wondered what he would do, he re-signed in Houston. I wonder if he re-signed because of Dusty. Dusty's gone. Will that change it?
Yeah.
Grichuk, will he, he would be a good guy. If I'm the Angels, I would consider re-signing him. Kevin Kiermaier, he's out there. I don't know.
Well, and I think you could take any of these. I mean, a lot of them, ones I mentioned are left fielders. I think you could take any of the outfielders and you can make them a left, left, right, center, whatever you may need. So, I mean, I've also heard Michael A. Taylor as a possibility for the Dodgers, but I was like, I don't know.
Whit Merrifield.
Yeah, I mean, there's also Teoscar Hernandez was another name that had been popping up with the Dodgers. Of course, you're not seeing that as much now because there's only one name popping up for the Dodgers lately. Harrison Bader, another.
Oh, right.
He was with the Cardinals. Played with the Yankees. Who's traded to the Yankees, right?
Yeah.
Sound right? Yeah. Okay. You got to remember all the moves. So he's still out there. I mean, has been a solid player when he played for the Cardinals. I don't know so much with the Yankees. It seemed like he was on the IL for part of that time. I mean, we'll see. I am with you. I don't see Cody coming back to the Dodgers, and I really don't see Jocelyn coming back either. Now, he did post a interesting, I mean, who knows what it means, if anything. It was a picture of him hugging the Philly Fanatic, and the caption was, "It's always sunny in Philadelphia." We haven't heard anything. Don't know. Maybe he was just being cheeky. I don't know.
Maybe. All right. So we know that the Dodgers need to do a lot of things. Now, one thing that is happening that we know is going to have an impact on the NL West is that the Padres, their owner died. Their TV deal went the way of the dodo. There's a lot of money that they were supposed to be getting that's no longer there. That's why they're clearing things out. And that one biggest thing that we knew was probably going to happen, but weren't 1000% sure, but not surprised how it played out. Juan Soto traded along with Trent Grisham to the Yankees.
Yeah.
And they get 3 pitchers, a couple of which, and honestly, I can't tell you what their names are, but they get pitchers that are going to help them because they need pitchers because Blake's gone, Waka's gone, Lugo's gone. They have Yu Darvish still. I mean, they have a team that can compete. Will they? We don't know. Something's going on because even their manager got out of town.
Yeah.
Didn't want to be there anymore. So we don't really know what's, who Schilt is their name?
Yeah.
So they
Cardinal.
trade him to Juan Soto to the Yankees for these 3 pitchers. Now, if you were wondering what's going to happen in the East now, because the Yankees traded for Alex Verdugo.
Right.
So now they've got an overabundance of outfielders. They've got Aaron Judge. They've got Alex Verdugo. They've got Juan Soto. They got Trent Grisham. Now, what really works is they got a complete player between both Juan Soto and Trent Grisham, because Trent Grisham is an excellent defender, not as good as a hitter. Juan Soto is a below average defender, but an above average hitter.
Right.
So now it's like, who's going to play where? Trent Grisham probably becomes a late innings defensive replacement type. Verdugo, honestly, if I'm them, I'm putting Verdugo in left field and Juan Soto in right. But the word is right now, Verdugo here, there. Now, imagine all day on Saturday or Friday when everybody's thinking that Shohei's going to Toronto. Who's going to win the East? They're going to kill each other because every team in the East, just because they got Soto doesn't make the Yankees the best team.
No.
Baltimore, Tampa, Toronto, Boston, all of these teams are still going to be, it's going to still be a fight. It's going to be a Royal Rumble while somebody's going to get away with murder in the Central.
Yeah.
The West. It's even been, now that Shohei's gone, people are saying, well, right now, the Angels rival the A's in far as, they're a 70-win team, which is pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
The A's seem to be building something better than the Angels. The Angels at some point should have just went with the nuclear option and blown it up.
Yeah.
And started over. They should have traded Ohtani a couple of seasons ago, got a booty for him and a bunch of minor leaguers or young prospects that are number ones in all these organizations, and built from there, and a couple of guys that could play right away, build them around Trout and Rendon because you have no other choice, and do something. But they didn't do that. So they're having to compare. Basically, they're at minimum right now, or at maximum right now. They feel like a number 4 team because they still have to deal with the Mariners, who, while they don't have a lot of money, they have excellent pitching.
Yes. Well, and you're looking at, you still have obviously the Rangers, the Astros still fit in there. And so it'd probably be right now, if you were looking just based on what happened, we know the Rangers obviously won the World Series, but the Rangers, the Astros, the Mariners, the A's.
Right.
And then the Angels, maybe, or flip flop. I don't know, but
it depends on what happens there. I'm not these guys who are, former GMs and that, but from what I've seen from the eye test, as they say, when I look at them, I see that the Angels are a slightly less dysfunctional team than the A's.
Yes.
And I think that on the field, they have a good deal. They've got bad ownership, just like the Angels do. But Mark Kotsay is not a bad manager. They've got young guys that are showing the promise. Zach Geloff, I think, is going to be an all-star at some point with the A's. But the Angels, number one, they have Ron Washington now. They have some coaches that when you listen to them talk, I listened to Bo Porter one night because he's an analyst on MLB Network about being a first base coach, about base stealing, about things that he sees and how to do these things. I'm impressed with what they're saying. I already knew what Wash could do. So can it all come together? Can Barry Enright, pitching coach, be as good as can he help build that up and really make the Dodgers or the Angels pitching staff that much better? But they still play in a tough division, and that's going to be tough for them. I still think that the Dodgers have to fight, are still going to have to deal with the Diamondbacks, because the Diamondbacks are not just a flash in the pan.
No.
They've got a good team building, and the fact that they let Torey Lovello stay on piece by piece and see what was built. He's another guy who's out there. How do we take the information that we're getting and apply it on the field and making it work? It sounds like and looks like that's what they're doing. They got a new pitcher that the Dodgers wanted last year, ends up in Arizona. That helps them, along with Zach Gallen,
Merrill Kelly.
Thank you. And Fott.
Right, who looked really good. I mean, very impressive during the postseason.
I don't feel like he's a one-off rookie either.
No,
obviously
I don't think
we'll
so
see. But now they've got 4 solid starters. Dodgers have no solid starters. Maybe Bobby Miller. I'll give him that compared to the other ones. Emmett Sheehan was okay in places,
Right.
but
Yeah, no, I
Devin
would agree
Sano-
with that. I'd say Bobby Miller at this point is your starter.
Yeah,
And-
he's number one right now, and that's
Yeah.
kind of sad.
Yeah, because you can't pencil in Walker Buehler. We just don't know. And even though I agree, I think Clayton Kershaw definitely, that he'll be back with the Dodgers. When is he going to be back? Being able to pitch. So
Right. So
yeah.
So you've got Juan Soto in New York. So once again, it's going to be a bloodbath in the East.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys really are. Everybody was just about, I think, until the end of the season, everybody was over 500. Most
Right.
of the
We
season.
really, and you really still can't discount the Orioles because they had a taste of the postseason. Wasn't very long, but I know you mentioned that. But I just want to reiterate that I think people still overlook them to a certain extent.
I still think that they're a good bet. In fact, I'll just go on the record right now. They're my way too early pick to be the AL representative in the World Series next year because they got a taste of it. They met up with a Rangers team that just was on fire and was hard to do. And they had a bunch of young guys who didn't really know. They get a starter, another starting pitcher, because they had pitching issues. They went out and they grabbed Craig Kimbrell. And my hope for them on that is that even if Kimbrell pitches like he did with Philly for the most part, he's good.
Right.
But as a veteran, he helps the other guys. And the other thing that getting him as a closer is Felix Bautista, their closer, is out for the season, Tommy John.
Right. Yeah. Which, again, I think is one of those things. We're looking at all these teams that need pitching, all of these pitchers who have had some type of surgery, majority of them Tommy John or something similar, whether they want to call it that or not. I think it does go back to, I think it really does go back to the pitch clock. And I don't know if they want to, during the winter meetings, they talked about like shortening the pitch clock or maybe putting a couple of seconds, here or there. But I still think it's something that MLB needs to look at because ultimately the players are what make them MLB. It's what makes money for MLB. You got to protect your resource, and I don't know that they necessarily have done that very well.
So a bunch to look forward to. We'll have more when we start the season. We'll be here back with you at the end of March to kind of wrap everything up, unless something huger than what's already happens. Major trade where the Dodgers overhaul everything, and along with Shohei, they have 3 number 1 starters and an all-star outfield, and then we may have to do that. But for the most part, there's a lot to look forward to as far as what the Dodgers and Angels do with the rest of their offseason. I think watching other divisions is going to be really fun. I think like with the Central, Detroit, who was on a tear at the end of the year with a couple of their things, no more Miggy Cabrera. So what's going to happen, as far as like how they do that with Kenta Maeda? Will they pick up anybody else? Will they become the next winner? Is it their turn to win the Central? Will the Twins hold on and do, and repeat? Who knows? That might be an interesting, just because everybody's so bad, it becomes a bloodbath over there.
Yeah.
So thanks for joining us on this hot stove wrap up, as we just couldn't contain ourselves over the fact that Shohei's news is finally there. And as excited as I was to know that he's staying in the LA area, I'm not surprised by it. somebody in this house is ready to become a Dodger fan.
She's
And it
a
ain't
closet
me.
Dodger fan and has
Yes.
always been, whether she
Yes.
admits it or not.
I blame myself because we live so much closer to Dodger Stadium. We go to more
Right.
Dodger games.
Sure.
And it's funny because we can be watching on TV and she'll walk by not knowing who's up and go, "Oh, is that so-and-so?" She knows their batting stances too.
Yeah.
And I was like, "See, you
Inevitable.
really are a fan. You know who that is." So, but because we go so much and she likes, for all the bad stuff you hear about Dodger Stadium and some of the fans, we always have a great time at Dodger Stadium. It's always very baseball centric in Anaheim because the fans there are a different group, a different breed.
Just a
So-
different feel.
Exactly. So, we're looking forward to the season. Who knows if we will get priced out of, I'm sure at the beginning it's going to be crazy, because everybody's going to want to see him there and because now he's in a bigger, but there'll still be chances to go. I'm sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There will
So-
be plenty of opportunities to see him.
So we'll be back with you, like I said, at the end of March, opening day for the 2024 season. At that point, we'll not only wrap up what happened in the off season, maybe anything that we noticed through spring training, but hopefully we can give you final rosters at that point. And then we'll start the adventure that is the 2024 season and all the movement that is still yet to come. We'll know. And ready to talk about our favorite game. Once again, find us and we will be posting things throughout the off season. Our website may or may not get updated. Somebody promised something. If they were, let me get my master's and then I'll up. Okay, so I let her get her master's without complaint. You're our webmaster and social media guru.
Yes, it will be. It will be updated and we will have, we'll be on there. And then, of course, like you said, we will post and on all of the different platforms. I think that we didn't post or repost or anything about Shohei right away because I think we both were still like in investigative mode. Like this is real. I don't know if this is real.
Right. So anyway, find us at Twitter, sibling rivalry BB without the A.
And on Instagram and Facebook at sibling rivalry BB with the A.
And then what's our website address you'll be updating here very soon?
siblingrivalrybb.com.
And still time to hit the Fanatics link and order up. I'm sure there'll be Shohei jerseys as soon as it's officially announced by the Dodgers. And get in there and get them early because they're sure to sell out. And you probably could, conversely, get a Angel Shohei jersey, but the price will be slashed.
Yeah.
You can get it at a
clearance.
big discount. Actually, I was thinking about going to get like a Ohtani t-shirt or something like that at cheaper prices. I only have one t-shirt from the Angels with a name on it, and that's actually I have two. Fletcher was one, David Eckstein's the other one, and then I have two Angels jerseys. One is a 70s jersey that has Nolan Ryan on it,
Of course.
and then I have an away jersey that has no numbers or names or anything on it, because it's about the team when it comes, not in one individual player.
That's right. It's about the name on the front,
Not
the name on the back. Thank you, Tommy
That's
Lasorda.
Exactly. So that's who I root for, the name on the front. And then on the other ones, well, I do have a Dodger jersey with Justin Turner. And I root for him wherever he is.
Yeah, and he might be somewhere new. He's still out there.
Yep. So he's a free agent as well. Anyway, it's been a lot of fun talking about this. Everybody have a happy holiday season and a great new year. And we'll see you for the opening of the 2024 baseball season. Be safe, stay warm, and don't forget to swing away.